I really do fear a future where this guy wins the presidency, man. I feel like that might be the long-term worst-case scenario. We could get like another Obama situation. We're never escaping. We're never escaping. The wheel keeps on rolling. Yeah. Maybe we really are at the end of history. Yeah, maybe the end of history is just rolling 4-year cycles of fascism and neoliberalism. A friend of mine feels the same way. The terrifying thing about Pete Buttigieg, and I think most of you would agree with this, is that he's very smart. That's the worst thing. There are a lot of neoliberals who might be able to, like, you know, sort of take over a sinking ship and try to steer it, but things end up, like, the material conditions end up worsening anyway. I think Pete actually could turn things around for a bit. And that's the worst part. He'd be able to hold it together long enough. He'd be able to, like, prolong the worsening. It's very, very dangerous, you know? He could be so much more. Well, yeah, if he was a socialist, or even a social democrat, but he's not. He can talk about freedom as much as he wants, man, but we know what ideology he represents. How much more freedom was there in your life between 2008 and 2016? Okay, ACA got passed. All right, granted. We got a compromise bill. We got a compromise bill that brought us a fraction of the way towards the baseline for like every other developed country. What's worse, Obama or Buttigieg, in your opinion? I don't know. Different circumstances, different time periods. Is he neoliberal? Yes, very much so. Yes. It's possible he doesn't believe in anything, and he might shift his positions a little more social democratic, like in a insincere effort to meet the changing historical moment, but I don't know. I don't know. I could get behind a Buttigieg presidency, though. Yeah, that's because you're running on the wheel of samsara. You don't even realize it's a wheel. You're so short-sighted, you don't see the curve on the floor you're running on. You think you're running down a straight track. You think eventually you're going to reach the finish line. You don't understand that you keep rolling around and around and around. There's a carrot hanging in front of you. Fucking jovial merriment over here. Except you're never catching it. Well, Pete Buttigieg has the sauce to be president. At least he will soon. He's building up to it. He's charging his power or whatever. But I don't want him to be president. So what are we hoping for? Bernie to run again? I don't know. Hoping for a miracle, I guess. I guess. There are two problems with Pete. The first one is that he doesn't believe in anything. He's very, like, markedly insincere, and you know that if you follow him. Like, if you're familiar with how he is in his career, he doesn't believe in anything, which is a serious issue when you need to believe something to combat the times here. But the second problem is that, like, in lieu of having personal, sincere beliefs, he defaults towards the neoliberal position. And I'm not even talking about the bread fixing or whatever, or even, like, his previous run or his previous positions. He talks about freedom, right? Like, what the Democrats want is for you to have more choice, more options, but everyone is being strangled by capital, right? Like, more and more wealth is getting siphoned out of society into the hands of the ultra wealthy. It's getting sucked up into private equity. It's getting sucked up into Wall Street, you know? Less and less wealth is circulating among the people who actually live and breathe, and more of it's sitting in bank accounts and options and offshore accounts and so on and so forth, right? And he will do nothing about that. Like, we're dealing with a fundamental existential crisis of global civilization, and it's the relationship between the global economy and the average person. And that is the reason why we are where we are right now with Trump, right? Like, Trump didn't happen out of nowhere. Ennui about the decaying status quo alongside oligarchs backing Trump because they benefit from having a, you know, reckless, egotistical, megalomaniacal sociopath in charge, rather than some, like, Tweedly administrator. A lot of them have bought in on the Kool-Aid, you know? Most of the ultra-wealthy, most of the wealthy people associated with Trump as well are nakedly corrupt and self-interested. There's no pretense anymore that they're doing what they do for the greater good. Effective altruism, that fake movement, is dead. It was dead from the get-go, but, like, it's more dead than ever before. The idea that wealthy people are using their wealth to steer the government or society in a positive direction, it's not true. And Pete Buttigieg can't do anything about any of this. He can't. His ideology forbids him, because neoliberals think in market solutions. It's all public-private partnerships, you know? It's all private investment. It's all, well, we're going to get, you know, a contract bid for it. They can't nationalize. It's not even a part of their model, right? It's not even, like, on the table. Now, again, he doesn't believe in anything. So maybe he insincerely adopts some talking points, you know, some more progressive, more economically progressive solutions. But you need a real firebrand to deal with this. You're up against global capital. It's literally, without exaggeration, the most powerful coalition of interests ever assembled in all of human history ever. Nothing else even comes close. The Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, nothing. The Roman Empire, nothing. Mongolian Empire, nothing. China, nothing. Nothing else comes close. We're dealing with so much money and so much power. The only thing we have going for us is that it's loosely organized. That's it. It's loosely organized, guided mostly by an overriding set of normalized interests, laws, and economic principles, rather than the wealthy people all getting together in their monthly boardroom meetings to discuss what conspiracy they're going to play out in real life, what Deus Ex, subplot they're going to do next, right? For the most part, these people are stupid and loosely organized, but they're still very, very powerful because we let them have literally all the money. We let them have all the goddamn money. So, yeah, that's my problem with Pete Buttigieg. And he's just smart enough that he might be able to pull it off for a bit. And look, the country would be much better run under Pete Buttigieg than almost any other guy out there, right? That's currently viable for the presidency. Certainly more so than Trump. And he's a smart fella. He could play the game pretty well, I bet you. He might be able to do some pretty impressive stuff within the limits of his ideology. But only ever that. Best example of this is when the Clintonites defunded public housing and replaced it with housing vouchers, which contribute to housing cost inflation because it neglects the supply issue. Yeah, I mean, it's neoliberalism, right? Is ideology alone really enough to steer the world in the right direction? Well, you need to be informed by the right ideas. If the problem the world is facing is capital, then yeah, you need to be anti-capital, or at the very least, you need to be aware of that dynamic, right? But Pete Buttigieg doesn't even talk about oligarchy the way AOC and Bernie Sanders do. Like, he doesn't even engage in the militant pro-working class rhetoric. That's the bare minimum right now. Even among Trump supporters, you can go to basically any American, right? Basically everyone thinks the little guy, is getting screwed over. Like, the idea that you as an individual are being fucked over by the powers that be is almost universal, even for people who are like kind of wealthy, right? Like, even small business owners or people making a six-figure income, like, everyone believes that. And all of them are correct, or almost all of them, to varying extents, right? And the fact that Democrats don't play into that is actually psychotic. Like, I would bet you a majority of Trump voters believe that corporate greed is hurting middle America, which is insane, but I bet you it's true. And the average Democrat doesn't even talk about this. Bernie and AOC do, but the average, like Biden doesn't take an oppositional stance towards corporations. He's pro-labor. I mean, Biden did some good stuff for unions, but Biden wasn't going out there. I mean, he could barely talk, right? But like, Biden wasn't going out there and talking about like the Americans have suffered under corporate greed for long enough. It's too spicy. Trump will do it. I mean, he'll do it inconsistently, right? Obviously, because he's lying, but he'll say it. He'll say stuff like it.